Traders, 'tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you Friday, May the 8th. The year's 2026. Let's talk trading. Weekly wrap up. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. Make sure you have your risk management in place so you don't lose more than you're willing to lose while you are trading. So taking a look at the weekly dashboard, we can see all the weekly open gaps have filled. The pound is now sitting 23 pips above the weekly open, 25 off the weekly high, and 106 off the weekly low. We zoom out to the month. We're 16 pips above the high. 16 pips above the open, 40 off the high, 106 off the low. And if we look at the daily or the opening ranges, we're above the yearly open range. We're within the month. No, actually, yeah, we're within the monthly opening range, and we have broken above the high of the weekly opening range. You can see these lines are almost on top of each other right there. For the year, 161 pips over the yearly open, 250 off that yearly high, and 459 off the yearly low. So far we have not pushed the range. We did break out of last month's high this week. Yesterday was an inside bar. We slightly broke below it, but we did not break above it. Got close, but did not quite get there. And as you can see, lots of inside bar action happening there. Okay, for the ranges today, the pound Canadian's leading the pack, 181 pips. I don't think we've ever talked about the pound Canadian. Usually it's just kind of forgotten. Pound clocking in at 84 pips. Right now, 14 off the high. And you can see here we crossed that weekly open at 135.95, and it just kept moving. We broke out of the buy zone. It looks like early London session possibly, or maybe late Asian session. Red rats trying to feast here. I've been getting some shorts in. Pivot trading plan, Bambino Flex said to go short. Bias near the pivot was short, but as you can see here, today was definitely a up day. So sometimes these things don't nail it, but that's why we use our stop losses. We took out the day's pivot. We took out the week's pivot, but we have not taken out the month's pivot yet. And we still have 3 full trading weeks to go, except I believe there's a Memorial holiday snuck in there. But there's plenty of time to push that price down. And today was also NFP day. I forgot to mention that. But it was funny. There really wasn't much action with the NFP. Not the kind of price action we're used to seeing, or were used to seeing. I guess over the past couple of years, we should adapt to what's going on, and we just don't have those big ranges like we used to. You can see we're in the upper wick zone, tried to break out, but failed. And you can see 80% of the time, price doesn't like to break out of the wick zone. Looking at the weekly smart ranges, 131 pips puts us at the 8th percentile for the last 12 weeks. We didn't break out at a high, we didn't break out at a low, so it looks like we're going to have an inside bar week, so it might be some good action like we did a couple of weeks ago, so pay attention. High minus close, red rats 24, close minus low, green rats 106. Weekly open traders, high minus open 48, open minus low 83. And just looking at some simple price action here, if we zoom out to the 30-minute, you can see we had some tradable ranges. Kind of interesting though. I mean, you would have thought, let's see, NFP was 5 hours, 4 hours ago. So 1, 2, 3. I guess this must have been the NFP bar right here, but just not much follow through. Looking at the 1 minute chart, you can see we broke out of the low, but then came right back. Looking at those higher highs, highest lows, lowest high, making those trades. And it's really kind of compressed area here. It's just not much movement. Sometimes you just have to sit and wait. Okay, my multimeters, you can see short term is down, long term is up. Had a death cross on M1 to the downside, and M30. Usually that's a nice payoff, but not always. Oh, it looks like one of my indicators, something got changed. Okay, X start I believe should be 220, and the Y start should be 100. Place that dashboard. Actually, I guess it should be 150. There we go. And looking at the H4 liquidity, lots of times I'll look at M1, but you can see no liquidity there. Right here, they're bumping into each other. And so a lot of times what I like to do is I want to go start moving up time frames. So if I'm here, I don't find any. Where's liquidity? That's not good enough. Let me move up a time frame. Okay, there's seems like there could be enough distance here to make some pips. Move out to M30. Plenty of space here. So I would possibly look to trade somewhere short above that 121, 122 area. And then I can always go back down to M1. Why is the buttons indicator down there? And look to find a nice trade. So I'd be looking maybe a higher low trade or something. Now looking at the Fractal radar, you can see we had a couple of closes 140 or higher. That was a while ago, 3 days. And actually, one thing I've been doing, I've been only looking at 1 day just to get to see, the price action. So you can see here, and the time frame's not going to affect this because this is going to display for all time frames. So you can see here, closing above 130, it's just not happening. So that means if it gets between 20 and 30, I'd definitely be wanting the short. You can see you had a short signal there, short signal here, even though it took you the wrong way at first. Same thing here, same thing here. And so after a 3 ball, I ignore the buys and I'm only looking for the sells. So you had a sell signal here. That was a nice one. Could have come back in and picked up a few pips. You don't want to go to the well too many times in a row. And you can see here price was moving hard. So it's like, oh, let's just wait, let it, and get another sell signal up here. So as I was saying, I don't know, a few videos ago about the where, how important the where is. It's something we've talked about probably over a decade ago, but the where is important because you can get a signal here, but it can go against you. You get it here, it's least likely to go against you. It was funny. I asked the chat today to tell me about a scalping, where, how I should scalp. If I just want to make 2 pips, high probability, and it basically said you have to do it in the right location. You don't want to do it in the middle. You want to do it, you want to sell high, you want to buy low. It was pretty, I had to laugh at the simplicity. Okay, close minus the year-to-date open percent up to 1.21 here in May, moving back to where we were in January, at the end of January. Okay, take a couple looks here. Let's look at the ATR percent so far this month. For a week and a day of trading, we're at 35. See, the lowest was 40. I would imagine we're going to pass that. We already know we haven't accumulated more range for the year. But once again, just looking at the month, 146. So I assume with that weekly inside bar happening, that we're going to get some nice movement. So once again, looking at the month, we're above that upper wick zone. Price is turning up, so we'll see if we go higher. And it says early May to mid-May is usually bearish. So far it's been kind of bullish. It's turned this week. For the weekly, we're inside that upper wick zone. Buyer strong control, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. So thinking buzzard reversal. It's going to come back down. In fact, I was listening to a video. And there was some woman said something about, 3 in a row. She's going to start looking for the reversal. And I thought, yeah, that's my old buzzard reversal. I'm wondering if she watched one of my old videos or one of my old posts out there on Crestlet. So looking at the day, previous bar was an inside bar. We're inside that upper wick zone once again. Buyer strong control today. We crossed above the previous mid and the pivot. Lower high, lower low. But we were in a green bar with a lower high, lower low, what I call a sucker bar. Something I don't want to take that trade because be a sucker. It could sucker me in the wrong way. That's something I was doing today. And it's like, I asked myself, why did I do that? It's like, what were you thinking? Oh, you were thinking this. Why are you thinking that? It's like, it was too funny. But what I've learned is one of the things you really just have to keep it simple. You need at the most 3 trade signals. You basically need location, direction, and then something to say go. And so, you can look at the semaphores, 3 levels ZZ, daily highs, daily low, but then you see, okay, then you need to, so you see this is the high, so that's the where, up top, the direction, I want to go south. What's a trigger? It could be anything, a previous 3 ball, a close below the midpoint, close below indicator 2, flip-flop box, highest low, any of those things. But just keep it real simple. That's all you have to do. And then you just practice. Just keep, and you don't, once you pick something, you stick with it. Because if it has an edge, that's what's going to give you the money. You don't have to mess with it. And just make sure you execute flawlessly. Because, as always, It's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is TheRumpledOne over.